One of the great features in PHP is that it is possible to set up secure areas that needs login. In this case, I have a website with an index.php and 6 subpages. Those 7 pages altogether are available to everybody who wants to visit my page. I would like to make a gallery uploader, but only for me. In order to keep it secure, I need a login page. The result of the login can be either that it's okay to continue to the gallery uploader, or the user needs to log in again if the username or password was wrong. How do we handle the login? We need to save the login status of the user so it's possible for the gallery uploader to verify that the user may upload files. For that purpose, we use the session in PHP. The session is a unique set of data for a visitor of the website. 2 users may have some products in a virtual shopping cart. A user may be logged in to his or her account. The session works this way. A user sends a request to a server, and the server creates a unique session ID for this user. The session ID is sent back to the user as part of the response. The session ID is stored in a small file at the user's computer. The file is called a cookie. Perhaps there are other users who visit the website, and they all get their own unique session ID, so the server can handle their specific states. The communication protocol between the browser and the server on the internet is called stateless. That is because the connection between the browser and the server only exists when the user requests a file and the server responds to the browser. To maintain a certain level of state, for instance login or shopping cart, the session is our friend. When the user requests to go to, for example, the gallery uploader feature, the user sends the session ID so the server can find the user's session data, which will contain information whether the user is allowed to use the gallery uploader or not. When the response has been received, the connection ceases to exist and the server waits for the browser to make a new request. The default setting is that the lifespan of the session is as long as the browser is running. When the user quits the browser, the session cookie is destroyed. Be aware that it is not enough to close a tab or a browser window. You have to quit the browser program to destroy the session cookie. Here is an illustration of the login process when a user requests to use the gallery uploader. The first scenario is when a user is not logged in. And the second one is when the user is logged in. I will do some code demonstration in a moment, and the basic steps for the login is as follows. Create a session ID. Verify the username and the password. If it's okay, set the login state in the session and open up the gate to the secure area. Here's my login form. My login form contains of only 2 input fields, one for my username and one for my password. And then I have a submit button so I can submit my login form. And the action of my form is this file, do-login.php, and the only thing that happens over here is that it starts the session. First I check if the session has been started, then I start the session if it's not. And I do that because I get some warnings if I try to start a session that has been started on another page. So therefore I have this if statement. So let's have a look at the login form. Here I try to log in, and I will just, as the first thing, have a look at the cookie. I want to verify that there's no cookies set for this site. And when I type in my password, it could be Nils and it could be some very secret one. Then I can see that there has been set a cookie that has a name PHP sesh ID, and that is actually my session ID that PHP or the server sets for me. And that is what happens when I go to do login. This line creates this cookie when it returns to my browser. It sends this cookie back again, and my browser creates this cookie. So now I want to do something with that cookie. Now I have my session, so I will go here, and then I will first of all I will find out if the user has sent a username and a password. I will find out if the username has not been set or the password has not been set, and I do that with this exclamation mark where I said if this is not true, that it is set in the post object the variable username. If that not has been set, or the password has not been set, oh, I need one ending parenthesis there, like this. Then I want to stop the script from executing, so I will use the function die that kills the process, where I will send the message to the user that no, you are not allowed, because I want only users who send a post with this input field and this input field to be able to log in. Okay, now I will try again. I can try without sending this, and it should give me this message because I didn't try to send it from a post form or a form with the method post. So now I will define my username and password, which the user input should be validated against. I could make just a variable called username, but I would like to use a constant instead. A constant is kind of the same as a variable, but it's different because when we have defined it, you are not allowed to change it, whereas a variable can change value in the lifespan of all the script. Usually we use to specify constants in uppercase, and my username would be admin, and I will define a password which will be number 1. And then I need to verify that what has been sent also matches my defined username and password. And I do that like this and say if post username equals username and password equals password. Then everything is okay. Echo you are logged in. Else echo we give you a link back to the login page. So first of all, we check if it has been sent through a valid form. Then we define our username and password, and then we validate our username and password against what the user had entered into the login form. So I will save this and I will go to my browser and go back to this login page. As we can see, this one still exists, the session ID. So I will try to log in with some fake credentials and I will get the link try again. So I'll try again this run with admin and number 1 and you're logged in. The only thing I need now is to create a session variable that I can use when I'm going to use some of the secure pages. So in my session I need to set the variable login to true, and when I do that, go back again because I'm still not logged in. Correct. Then now I'm logged in and I can find out that I'm logged in, and I will do that by creating a new page here, and this page will be this upload.php, which I will, as the first thing here, I will find out if this session has been started. If not, session then session start, because now we want to check if it has been set, this variable in the session. So if not, session login, if not is set, login, then die, or perhaps we should redirect, make a location, then we will redirect with this header location login.php. And it is important that we only execute these redirects, these header modifications, before we send out any HTML. Otherwise the browser or PHP will come with an error that headers had already been sent. So if we are not logged in, then we will be redirected to the login page. And down here I can just make my gallery uploader and just make an h1 welcome to the uploader, just to show some message. So we can find out if we are logged in. just by running this file. It says welcome to the uploader. That means we are logged in. We can find out if it works by quitting this browser and then run this, because when we quit the browser the session is destroyed, so our login is destroyed now, hopefully. And we try to run this and we'll be redirected to the login page because we are not logged in. So when we logged in with the admin and number 1, we will get this message that we are logged in. And I think I will make a redirect here instead. So when we log in, we say header, location, gallery, no, upload.php. So first we set our session variable called login, and after that we will redirect the user to the correct page, to the secure area. So let's go and have a look in the browser again. I think we just quit this and then we will log in again. Can try to go to the upload. Yes, still working. We are redirecting to the login page. Admin number 1. Welcome to the uploader as soon as we are logged in. So what happened here? First of all, we had a form, and this form is a simple login form with an action to the do login page, and the do login page begins with creating the session if it hasn't been set, and then we check if we are allowed to log in. That means if I try to log in with, for example, I can try with a get instead. So I'll just quit this one, and then I'll open the browser. And I will try and say, okay, this should go to username equals admin, and I would like to use the password number 1, but still I'm not allowed. So in this do login, we are checking if we're coming from a valid place or with a valid form. Then we define our username password, and then we validate our username password. If it's okay, we set our session login equals true, and then we redirect to the upload page. If not, we will give you a link. We can do it like in this case, say we redirect to the login. So if I try to log in with some fake credentials, I'll just return to the login page. I could make some functionality where I give the user a message, a response about that the login was not successful, but for the moment I will just stick to this, that I can log in and be redirected to the correct page. If I want to make a logout, for example in my upload, I have to make, for example here, a form with the action to a page called logout.php, method post, and just with a submit button. Log me out, value, log out. And then I need to create this file called logout.php. And I open this one. The first thing I will do is to check if the session has been started, because we have to use the session now. We want to destroy the session, or we want to remove this login variable from the session. So if there's no session, I would like to start the session. So now the session has been started. I will say I would like to unset this variable from the session, and this variable is called login, and then I will redirect with the header location login.php. And let's have a look, see how it works. We'll just try to log in first here. The admin and number 1. Welcome to the uploader. Everything works okay. So I'll log out. So now I'm here. So when I try this, I will just be redirected back to the login page. So that means we are logged out. We can try again. The admin, number 1, welcome to the uploader, and logged out. And we are redirected back to the login page. So now we have, with these few files, a login page, a login form. We have our handler of the login, redirects to the upload or to the login, depends on if it is a success or if it's a failure. And on the upload, we give a message and we give the possibility to log out. In the logout, we unset the session variable login again, and then we go back to the login page.